Right here today, considering all of the social media, all of the outlets for attention, Caitlin Clark by far today is the most.
Picture this. A 22-year-old woman steps onto a stage that wasn't built for her, breaks a record that seemed impossible to touch, and in doing so, sends shockwaves.
Sought-after popular star.
LPGA just did everything. They did it all correct in literally
through an entire industry. We're not talking about another game-winning shot or another MVP trophy. No, this is bigger. This
is from Nelly, maybe fine-tune that part of it. But
I like that plan.
I mean, you're an athlete. You're used to crowds, and I'm sure you play better.
History being rewritten in real time. Caitlin Clark just shattered a Guinness World Record, and the internet absolutely lost its mind. Fans flooded social media, celebrities weighed in, and even
women are going from having 3,000 people in their arenas to 20,000.
Who've never watched a single basketball game couldn't stop talking about it. What did she do? How did she pull it off? And why is this moment being called the most significant achievement in women's sports this decade?
I'm trying to think of who else maybe could play today, especially in women's sports, that would create this kind of attention. Current player. And, I mean, the true buzz that Caitlin Clark has shown across the...
Buckle up, because what you're about to hear will leave you speechless. Let's rewind for a second. Caitlin Clark isn't just any athlete. She's a phenomenon. In today's world, where attention spans are shorter than...
Ripping it down the middle. Showing some deft wedge game as well. I'm not buying her comments yesterday that the only thing she wanted to accomplish today was not to hit it.
And every influencer is fighting for a slice of the spotlight. Caitlin Clark has become the most sought-after, most talked-about star in all of sports. Not just women's sports. All sports. Her name trends on Twitter.
What were the nerves like hitting your opening tee shot here compared to what you normally do on the basketball court?
I don't get nervous for basketball, but I got a little nervous for this because I don't want to hit anybody, but honestly, I'm just trying to
more than most celebrities. Her jerseys sell out in minutes. Her games pull in viewership numbers that networks only dreamed of a few years ago. And here's the kicker. She did it all by just being herself. No gimmicks.
Remember, there's been good players come out of college, but nobody really cared. We'd seen it. Nobody really...
No controversies. Just pure, undeniable talent mixed with a work ethic that would make even the most seasoned pros feel inadequate. So when news broke that she was attempting something no one in her sport had ever done before, the entire sports world stopped and watched. And what happened next? Absolute madness. The record in question wasn't some obscure stat that only hardcore fans care about. This was legitimate, measurable, undeniable greatness. Caitlin Clark officially broke the Guinness World Record for the most points scored in a single professional basketball season, a feat that seemed untouchable just months ago. Think about that for a second. We're talking about a record that has stood for years, defended by legends who poured their hearts into the game. And Caitlin didn't just edge past it. She obliterated it. By the time the final buzzer sounded, she had racked up numbers that left analysts scrambling to find comparisons. Sports commentators were calling it the greatest individual season in women's basketball history. Fans were literally crying in the stands. Social media exploded with videos of people losing their minds, screaming at their TVs, jumping up and down in disbelief. This wasn't just a record. This was a cultural moment. But here's what makes this even more incredible. Caitlin didn't do this in a vacuum. She wasn't playing on some stacked super team where she could coast on easy assists and open looks. No, she carried her team on her back game after game, night after night, through injuries, through exhaustion, through double teams and triple teams designed specifically to stop her. Opposing coaches literally built their entire defensive strategies around shutting her down, and she still found a way to dominate. Her shooting range is absurd. She's draining threes from distances that make Steph Curry nod in respect. Her court vision is surgical. She sees plays developing before they even happen, threading passes through impossible windows that leave defenders looking lost. And her competitiveness? It's borderline scary. There are stories of her staying in the gym hours after practice, perfecting her craft while everyone else has gone home. That's the difference between good and legendary. That's why she's breaking records that people thought would stand forever. Now, let's talk about the reaction, because that's where things get really wild. The moment Caitlin officially broke the record, the internet erupted. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, every platform you can think of was flooded with clips, reactions, memes, tributes. Hashtags related to her name were trending worldwide within minutes. Celebrities who don't even follow basketball were posting about it. LeBron James tweeted his congratulations. Serena Williams shared a message of respect. Even actors, musicians, and influencers from completely different industries felt compelled to acknowledge what they had just witnessed. Why? Because greatness transcends sport. When someone does something truly extraordinary, it captures the imagination of everyone, not just fans of that particular game. And Caitlin's achievement? That was as extraordinary as it gets. But it wasn't just celebrities and casual fans losing their minds. The WNBA community, the players, the coaches, the analysts who've dedicated their lives to this sport, they were in awe too. Veteran players who've been in the league for over a decade came out publicly to praise her. Some called it the most impressive thing they'd ever seen. Others admitted they didn't think it was possible for someone to score at that volume and efficiency in today's game. Coaches who had spent entire seasons trying to game plan against her finally admitted defeat, saying there's simply no way to stop her when she's in that zone. Even her own teammates seemed almost stunned by what they were witnessing. One of them said in a post-game interview that playing with Caitlin feels like being part of something bigger than basketball, like watching history unfold in real time. And that's exactly what it was. Here's the thing, though. Records are great. They look amazing in highlight reels and history books. But what makes Caitlin's accomplishment so much more meaningful is the context. Women's basketball has been fighting for respect, for viewership, for recognition for decades. It's been an uphill battle against outdated stereotypes, limited media coverage, and a sports world that too often overlooks female athletes no matter how talented they are. Caitlin Clark didn't just break a record. She broke down barriers. She forced the mainstream sports world to pay attention. Suddenly, games that used to draw a few thousand viewers were pulling in hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions. Arenas that used to have empty seats were selling out weeks in advance. Merchandise sales skyrocketed. Sponsorship deals that seemed impossible a few years ago were suddenly pouring in. Caitlin didn't just elevate her own career. She elevated an entire league. She proved that women's basketball isn't just worth watching, it's must-see TV. And let's not pretend this didn't ruffle some feathers. There are always going to be doubters, haters, people who try to diminish greatness because it makes them uncomfortable. Some tried to downplay her achievement, claiming the competition wasn't tough enough or that the record was inflated by some technicality. Others, particularly certain rivals who've spent the last few years competing for attention, seemed visibly bothered by the tidal wave of praise coming Caitlin's way. Angel Reese and Aya Wilson, both phenomenal players in their own right, found themselves in an awkward position. They've worked incredibly hard to build their own legacies, but Caitlin's record-breaking season overshadowed everything else happening in the league. Social media debates erupted. People were comparing stats, arguing about who's better, who deserves more recognition. But here's the reality, numbers don't lie. Caitlin's performance this season was historic, and no amount of debate or controversy changes that. What's fascinating is how Caitlin herself handled all of this. In a world where athletes are often larger-than-life personalities who crave the spotlight, Caitlin has remained remarkably humble. Every interview, every press conference, she deflects praise and talks about her teammates. She credits her coaches, her family, her support system. She never makes it about herself, even when she's literally breaking world records. That kind of humility is rare, especially in today's ego-driven sports culture. And you know what? It makes people love her even more. Fans aren't just drawn to her because she's insanely talented. They're drawn to her because she's genuine. She's relatable. She's the kind of person you'd want your kids to look up to. In an era where so many athletes seem manufactured and media-trained to the point of robotic, Caitlin feels real. And that authenticity is a huge part of why her impact extends far beyond the basketball court. But let's get back to the record itself, because there's another layer to this story that makes it even more impressive. Breaking a Guinness World Record isn't just about having one great game or one hot streak. It's about sustained excellence over an entire season. It's about consistency, durability, mental toughness. Caitlin played through fatigue, through defensive schemes specifically designed to frustrate her, through the pressure of knowing that millions of people were watching her every move. And she never cracked. She never had a meltdown. She never let the weight of expectations crush her. Instead, she thrived. Game after game, she delivered performances that left people shaking their heads in disbelief. 40-point games became routine. 50-point games weren't out of the question. And all the while, she maintained a level of efficiency that statisticians are still trying to wrap their heads around. This wasn't just volume scoring. This was elite, high-percentage, intelligent basketball played at a level we rarely see. So what does this mean for the future? Well, if this season is any indication, we're witnessing the beginning of something truly special. Caitlin Clark isn't just a flash in the pan. She's not a one-hit wonder who'll fade into obscurity after a couple of good years. No, she's building a legacy that could redefine what's possible in women's basketball. Young girls who are picking up a basketball for the first time are doing it because they want to be like Caitlin. Future generations of players will grow up idolizing her the same way kids in the 90s idolized Michael Jordan. She's not just setting records. She's setting a new standard. She's proving that women's sports deserve the same respect, the same investment, the same enthusiasm as men's sports. And that impact will be felt for decades to come. The response from fans has been nothing short of overwhelming. Social media has become a celebration of everything Caitlin represents. Videos of her breaking the record have been viewed millions of times. Fan pages dedicated to her have exploded in followers. People are making highlight compilations, tribute videos, artistic edits celebrating her greatness. It's not just basketball fans either. People from all walks of life, from all different backgrounds, are rallying around her story. Why? Because it's inspiring. It's proof that hard work, dedication, and unwavering belief in yourself can lead to extraordinary things. In a world that often feels cynical and divided, Caitlin's story is a reminder that greatness still exists, that heroes are still real, and that sports can still unite people in ways few other things can. As the dust settles and the reality of what just happened starts to sink in, one thing is abundantly clear. Caitlin Clark has changed the game forever. She didn't just break a Guinness World Record. She shattered expectations, silenced doubters, and inspired millions. She proved that boundaries are meant to be crossed, that records are meant to be broken, and that greatness knows no limits. This isn't the end of her story. It's just the beginning. And if this season is any indication of what's to come, we're all in for one hell of a ride. So the next time someone tries to tell you women's sports don't matter, show them Caitlin Clark's record. Show them the sold-out arenas, the millions of viewers, the global celebration of her achievement. Show them that history was made, and it was made by a young woman who refused to be anything less than extraordinary.